Really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
If you don't like me, but you keep watching my shit, you're still a fan. I can't even begin to explain how many individuals I have on my social media right now talking shit about my message, about me, about how I look, about the individuals I surround myself with who don't follow me, don't like me, and don't actually want to see me succeed. But you still here, homie, so you still a fucking fan. And if you just took your focus off of me, off of my life, my accomplishments, my daily tasks, you would probably already be successful.
This, but let me put this out here. Stop sparing folks. Hello, somebody. Stop sparing folks. Nobody cared when your feelings was hurt. Nobody cared when you was pacing the floor. Nobody cared when you was sliding down the wall. Nobody cared when you was standing over there with a face full of tears. You had to suck it up, buttercup. But then when it come to other folk feelings, here you are. Want to tiptoe around it. Want to avoid the elephant in the room. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to disturb the peace. Stop sparing folk. Ain't nobody spare you when it was your turn. Give it to them real. Give it to them raw. Give it to them uncut and uncensored. This is exactly what it is. This way you had me messed up at. Huh. Yeah. I ain't playing with nobody this season, baby.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, YouTube. We're back to the emoji. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. It's getting harder and harder. But I want to make sure we start our coffee club on time when I'm home. So this is an effort to get our coffee club back on track since I've been traveling so very much. Buffalo Mountain girl, our Mountain Tennessee girl, first to say hi to Bullhorn Betty and chat. Just an old lady, followed by Jara, family vibes. And she's like, it was weird. Her live came up for 22 seconds and went off. It's because I was half asleep and I hit the wrong button. I wasn't even ready. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm live. Not even ready. I didn't even have anything pulled up. I'm like, crap. So I'm trying to get it off and I'm like, shit, that's going to hurt my notifications. But you got to do what you got to do. I guess I should have probably just rolled with it, right? Instead of stopping it and setting up a second one. But I was so shocked that I hit the live button that I'm like, oh crap. So sorry about that, guys, but I'm glad each and every one of you guys are here. We almost have 300 people in the chat already this morning, and I've just started talking. And so you guys are in here, please go out and hit the like button. Many people upset at Bullhorn Betty for asking the right questions. And this is probably why they do not have successful channels and part of the sub squad. We ask the right questions. We ask the tough questions. I say the things that many of you guys are thinking, right? Many people are thinking the stuff. Nobody wants to say it because they don't want to offend people. Well, don't worry about it. You know, Bullhorn Betty's a little offensive every now and again, right? I don't really give a crap what they have to say. Listen, at the end of the day, Dylan Mortensen was in the house. She was alerted over 3 times to the point that she got up out of bed. She was dead asleep, woke up out of bed because of a loud noise. She hears crying. She hears a male's voice. She hears somebody saying somebody's in the house. She hears all these things, and she has a masked intruder walk past her, and she waits 8 hours to call law enforcement while she sits there and listens to her roommate crying on the floor as she dies. I am sorry. Yes, I feel ultra bad for whatever Dylan Mortensen went through. I feel ultra bad about that. Ultra bad about that. She's going to have to deal with this the rest of her life. That makes my heart ache for Dylan, okay? But there are 4 families, which I'm sure are very, very thankful that they have an eyewitness to this crime. An eyewitness to describe the assailant's height, weight, and bushy eyebrows. You know, that is amazing news that there's an eyewitness to this quadruple homicide, okay? There is the silver lining. However, I am angry. I am very angry about her actions. And I'm sure many people around the world and around this country are very upset about her actions. I'm sure hindsight 2020, her herself is probably very upset with herself for her actions. So I'm not going to sit here and pussyfoot around with people that are pissed off at Bullhorn Betty for speaking her mind and speaking the truth. That is something I have promised each and every one of you guys I will do. I don't mind taking the hit. Hell, out of everything I have been through, who gives a shit at this point what anybody says about me, right? At this point, who cares? The bottom line is we speak reality here. And if reality is offensive or offends you or is some kind of, causes or promotes PTSD in your life, then maybe this is not the best channel for you to be on. But when you're on here, I'm not going to filter my conversation. I'm not going to have my audience filter their conversation. All that is required here is to be respectful to one another. That's it. Say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean. If I choose to do that, I can't. It is my channel. However, it's almost like do as I say, not as I do type of thing in here. And I have no problem acknowledging that. None. I stand behind what I said yesterday, 100%. I don't want Dylan Mortensen to be unnecessarily bothered. That's why I have a chat where you guys can express your viewpoints here without going out and bothering somebody else. But I can tell you, there are many, probably 100 to 1,000 times more people that are just as angry as me than the people that are pissed off that I said something. Ooh, sue me. I cannot wait this morning. Coffee Club and chat. Jessa Love says, hello, BHB and community. Well, we are so thankful that you are here. Brandy221. Nice to see you, Nana of 7. Misty. Rick's Clicks. He was number 19. So don't forget to like this segment. We have almost 500, well, we're a little over 400, just slightly under 450 people. Do not forget to like the segment. We're going to go over some stuff that has just been gnawing at me. We try to keep everything we try to keep on topic. Like we'll have maybe the whole evidence discussion of the probable cause affidavit. Many people, and I looked into this and I had to think about it and I had to process the question because I didn't know what the right answer was yesterday. So after I sat and thought about everything, everybody kept asking about the affidavit, if that affidavit is thorough. There will be multiple affidavits that will be coming out associated with this case in support of whatever they are claiming to have happened. This is a probable cause affidavit. Is it complete? It is complete for the probable cause. Is it a complete statement of everything that transpired? Of course not. Of course not. This was just for the probable cause. This was just to explain why they believe this man is the person and why they believe he should be detained and prosecuted for this crime. Probable cause. It's required in a criminal case. And so some of those statements were specific to the identity or the driving habits or the pings related to Brian Kohberger, so they can explain to the court why they needed to arrest him. This is not. So even the segments that Dylan Mortensen that were put in there were Dylan Mortensen. There is a lot more to that statement than we read yesterday. That was only the portion related to buttoning up to show a good, clear, like they had that probable cause affidavit was very thorough in my opinion. It really showed how they followed him, how they tracked him, and that not only that, but the extensive work they did behind the scenes to make sure that he was the right guy with everything they know. A lot of people are also mistaken. They're like, oh, well, he's a PhD in criminology. Okay, criminology is not law. Okay, they may discuss law in a fleeting nature, but they're not learning the law. What they are learning in criminology is the crime, the behaviors of crimes and criminals. They want to know how crimes were taking place, what criminals were doing it, and the behaviors of the criminals when they were committing the crimes. So it kind of opens your eyes up to that whole entire poll that he did related to, because that's exactly what he's going to school to do. While we know he's twisted, and it was a very odd questionnaire for people like us, he was in the criminology. But people are like, oh, he's got to represent himself. The man doesn't know the law. What he knows is criminal, like crime scene techniques. He knows how to go into a crime scene and look at it. Those are two totally different skill sets. People that are in law aren't typically knowledgeable about the crime scene, so to speak. They have to learn it through what they're learning from the professionals, i.e., the criminology majors. So, two different things. Do I think he's going to represent himself? I do not. I don't think that he would be in a position to represent himself, even if he is representing himself because of the nature of the crime. I'm pretty sure the judge will require him to have an attorney that has done this type of these types of cases in the past, sitting second chair for him because of an appeal effect. You know, you don't want the appeals to come and them saying that he wasn't offered, you know, attorneys or, you know, it's just crazy. They will literally file appeals on every little thing because they're trying to, you know, save their client's life, a number of things. So we're trying to avoid any types of appeals that will come out after this case is over, because those appeals are what drags out the sentencing. For example, if this man gets, you know, if it's ordered by the court that he has to pay with his life, lethal injection or something of that nature, then yes, you know, he can appeal that and it can drag that out for many, many years. There are some people that don't really care to drag it out. They just, they just want it done and over with. They want it, you know, believe it or not, there are people like that. They just want it done and over with. So, it's just, it's, you know, I don't know how to say that, but that's not really why we're here this morning. Why we're here this morning is because of that affidavit. It let us know a lot. That affidavit brought a lot, and it was shocking. We read it here live on the Bullhorn Betty channel. While it was breaking, I was live talking about another topic, and people came into the chat letting me know. Good morning, Karen Davis. It's nice to see you, love bug. I see you in here. I don't know who else is in here. I haven't even gone through the whole entire list yet. Sorry, guys. Wake up. It's nice to see you, Eden's Garden. Angie Lee, nice to see you. Misty. Who else? Little Southern Patriot. Love it. Sending love from King Cake from Louisiana. And King Cake from Louisiana. Oh, there you go. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Van Lady, it's nice to see you as well. Noni McPoppins. Nice to see you, Jacqueline. So it's nice to see everybody in here. Justice for all. Nice to see you, Love Bug. Nice to see you. So the affidavit put Brian Koberger in front of their house again the next morning. And the hair on the back of my neck stood up when I read that and when I digested that. Because even when I was reading it the first day, I was so shocked by Dylan Mortensen and her actions that when I read the rest of it, and if you guys remember, I was about to head back to my county meeting, so we kind of rushed the back of it, you know, so I'm reading it, but I'm not comprehending what it's saying, especially with all of his movements, you know, Brian's movements and things of that nature. You know, I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jillian. Hello from South Africa. Have an awesome day. Well, thank you so much. You do the same. I hope you have a wonderful day as well. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. So, you know, we're looking back at this, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up because I remember some statements that we heard early on that just didn't make sense to us. And we've even talked about it here on the Bullhorn Betty channel very early on in this case, especially when it was airing, you know, when we realized we had the reality that, you know, there is a credible witness out there that, well, before we go into that too much, let me just make sure. Hey, Jacqueline, nice to see you. I don't know if I said hi to you. Jody, nice to see you. Midnight Nurse, it's nice to see you. Blondie UK. Oh, and before I go any further, Pebbles, it's nice to see you. Before I go too much further, I wanted to let you know that 3D imaging of the house that came out. Some wonderful person took a lot of effort to build us a kind of mock entry. You know, it's a 3D imaging of the house, but they went further than that. they actually put camera spots up there so you can actually see actual footage of, real life photos of those areas. And believe it or not, the gentleman that prepared it has reached out to me. He wanted additional angles of the house. He knew I was out there, so I sent him a bunch of videos. I sent him a bunch of good quality photos of certain areas on there, and I thanked him for that. I mean, wow, like he put a lot of effort into that. I can't imagine how much work that was. And I love the fact that people do this. They do some of the best people that do some of the best work are people that we don't even know. And they prepare stuff. They use their creativity, they use their skill set, and they prepare stuff for us to help the true crime community. And just a real big shout out. I don't know if he wants to be known or not, so I didn't ask him. So I'm not going to release his name or anything about him. I'm just going to tell him, if he's listening, thank you so much for all your hard work and everything that you've been doing. When I saw that, and I saw that on, I can't even remember whose page. I think it was Christina or something. She has like 1.3 million followers, and she was going through it and showing it. And I actually saw it on her page yesterday. And as I was going through some of my emails, I saw this person that had reached out to me, and I was reading it, and it was the creator of that. And he was I'm obviously not in Idaho anymore. So he was saying, if I'm in Idaho, he was giving me specific shots he'd like to have, but I'm not there. But I know I got real good footage for, TikTok as well as YouTube. In the formatting of the videos that I took. And I know I did the shots. So I just sent him everything I had. I sent him everything I had for that. And it was just nice. He was kind of shocked that I responded to him, but it's something that's going to help everybody in the true crime community with this case. I'm absolutely in support of that, and I'm happy to help. And just, it was an honor to know that somebody acknowledged that we were out there and wanted, some photos of the stuff to help the true crime community. So I felt very honored and privileged that he reached out to me, and just a big shout out. I know we're going to be able to use that. And it was so well constructed that it was just nice. It's just nice. So Belinda says she might have saved a life. I don't know why she wouldn't call 911. There was an intruder in the house. Even if she didn't know what happened to her friends, did she text them to see if they were okay? That's a good question, Belinda. Very good question. And I'm very curious about that too. What steps did she take? It just, I'm sure there's more to it than what we're reading, but I have to say, I'm glad she was honest with law enforcement. We have to be thankful for that because, at the end of the day, I can't imagine how terrifying this experience must have been for her. I mean, me as a grown adult being put in a situation like that, I don't know how I would handle it, much less somebody that's 20 years old. Knowing how I am, there is no way in hell I would not have been calling cops. I'm sorry, shocked or not shocked. Nothing more going and checking on my friends, my roommates, to make sure nobody was injured and to see if they saw the masked intruder in the house. I don't care if they were okay and they thought I was freaking crazy and being schizophrenic and delusional. I don't care. I would still tell them what I saw. I'd still go check on them. And that's, I think, what's upsetting for me. Do I want to, blame Dylan? No, but I mean, come on. She's 20 years old. She's a freaking adult. You watched a masked intruder walk through your house after hearing a lot of thuds, crying, and weird noises and weird statements being made that you've never heard before. And I'm sorry. I feel bad for her that this is the situation she's in. But again, this is the situation she's in. This is not a situation Bullhorn Betty put her in. This is not a situation that any other creator that are questioning this put her in. She did this to herself. And we have every right to ask a question when we're covering the case. For us not asking the question would be a disservice to all of us. So be mad. I don't care. It's not my problem. This is the facts. We stick to the facts on the Bullhorn Betty channel. We speculate based on those facts. And at the end of the day, Dylan Mortensen made horrible decisions that affected people. And could she have saved somebody's life? We don't know. We don't know. But is it possible? You damn right. 8 hours listening to somebody crying on the floor? She listened to her cry herself to death. Literally. She could have rendered aid. She could have held her hand. She could have done a number of things. This is very upsetting to me. It's upsetting. But yeah, and that's it, Gail. At least she's a witness. And you know what? Out of all this horrible that we're hearing, why she waited 8 hours at the end of the day, this is the silver lining. She is a witness. She has helped identify Brian Kohberger to bring this nightmare to an end. This nightmare will never end for the families involved. But at least this is at least one step toward justice. But am I angry? You damn right. Because I also know that the Gonzalez family reached out to her and she never even flipping responded. Never responded. They're trying to find out what happened to their loved one. Dylan Mortensen let them, didn't even call 911 for 8 hours. And then doesn't respond to the family. So I'm sorry. I'm angry and I'm pissed. I am thankful that she's a witness. I'm thankful that she didn't lose her life. There are a lot of things I'm thankful for, but there are a lot of things I'm upset about as well. And I'm allowed to do that. And I'm allowed to be that. I'm a human being and I have emotions. But I did want to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pop the stuff up. Well, thank you, Sierra. Nice to see you. Thank you for being the newest member to the coffee club. We are a crazy group when we start on time. But I've been starting earlier. I've been setting this for 8. We've been starting around 7:30-ish. So I'm really happy. Nice to see you, Crime Stories. Oh, honey. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you. Let's see what Justice has to say. This death case, the attorney has to have done other death case. Yeah. I think Brian will bump heads. Of course he will, because he's the smartest man in the room. He's going to bump heads with anybody and everybody because he has this, he's delusional about himself and who he is. He's got problems. Let's be honest. Oh, thank you, Angie Lee. Nice to see you. God bless you. God bless you. So anyways, it was nice. So we got that. I'm going to go ahead and get through this. Oh, Petty Petty. I love that. Petty Detective. Nice to see you. Thank you for the super sticker. God bless you. God bless you. Let's see here. I have a theory. What if DM went down to the first floor to get BF after the incident? This is what Phoenix Rising says. Down to the floor to get BF after the incident. In my opinion, it would make sense with them originally reporting her on the first floor. Maybe that's where she was on arrival. Yeah, it's possible. But we know that she was, it sounds like, well, we're going to get these details out. And I don't like saying them because I can't corroborate them. It's still rumor at this point because it didn't even elaborate in that affidavit, the unconscious person call. It really didn't really allege a whole lot. I'm curious to find out who was unconscious. Was it Dylan running out of the house and Hunter just happened to see her pass out in the front yard, which could be probable because Hunter was living in the adjacent property. That's literally after, their side door. I bet you it's Hunter and Emily's house. That was the one that had the camera footage that where they were able to hear the thud, the dog barking, and the sounds. I believe it was on Hunter and Emily's house. That's the closest house to them, I believe. I could be wrong. There may be another house. It may be one of those two. No, maybe I'm wrong. I have to check the map. I have to check the footage again just to be on the safe side. But it did sound like Dylan Mortensen stayed on the second floor the entire night. It doesn't sound like she was on the first floor until she was found unconscious or whatever as Hunter saw her and picked up the phone and spoke to the dispatch. I don't think her and Bethany were together at that time. I think she was on the second floor, but Bethany was on the first floor, like the report alleged, because it never said in the report that Dylan ever went downstairs to get Bethany. And actually, Bethany's, outside of her being listed in that affidavit, there was no real statements that were put in that affidavit from Bethany. So I don't think Bethany probably had no clue what was going on there in the house. But Dylan, again, awoke out of a dead sleep because of odd noises, heard weird things being said, a chilling voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." It is chilling hearing that. Somebody, she says, was Kaylee, but people are now saying it was most likely Xana that said someone was in the house. We're now getting a picture that it appears that he went upstairs to kill both Kaylee and Maddie. And it's possible that he heard the girl, Xana, say somebody's in the house, and he realized other people were there, and he may have had to come downstairs to take care of them to make sure nobody called the police. Meanwhile, he probably wasn't even paying attention to Dylan being in the house, opening her door. I believe if he would have seen Dylan, he would have killed her. I'm not sure. We'll find out if he looked her eyeball to eyeball and walked right past her, knowing she was still there. There may be a reason why he left her. I'm unsure. Lex says, it's hard for me to imagine that she was truly terrified or scared and went into a panic state, frozen out of shock state, because how does one go to sleep if they're truly feeling this way? Yeah, there's more to this than that. Yeah, I believe she when you read the thing, she felt she was frozen in shock when he was walking by. If you read the statement, it didn't say she was frozen in shock for hours. It said she was frozen in shock, and then she shut her door and locked it. So she was not shocked. You can't think. You are completely in shock. Your brain is almost it's shut off. I don't know how to explain it. So for her, she snapped out of that shock state enough to shut her door and lock her door. If she was in shock, she wouldn't have thought to lock the door, in my opinion. I'm just saying. So yeah, she was, but even then, an hour, 2 hours, you go out and check on your friends. Somebody even said in here, did she text? I'm curious to find out, did she text them and say, hey, there was a masked man in the house. Are all you okay? Or, hey, I thought I saw something odd. Are you guys okay up there? Or, hey, maybe just walk out your room and go check on your friends just to make sure they're okay. It's sad. I don't know how to explain it. It's sad. And to think that somebody screamed, Dylan never said anything about a scream that we know of, based upon this particular affidavit associated with the probable cause affidavit. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for becoming the newest member, or you're probably renewing. I'm not sure which, but either way, thank you and God bless you. Matt and Kate's Rose Garden and Adventures. She don't sound like a very good witness to me. Actually, based upon the probable cause affidavit that I read, yeah, she sounds like a freaking awesome witness, to be honest with you, Matt and Ken. She really does, because even though she only saw what she saw is what she saw. She can't go past that, but she was able to describe a person's height, weight, and some facial features. Height, weight, and some facial features. That is good in a situation like this. That is putting that person in that home at that time. But what gets me, here's what it is. What gets me about this whole thing, and now we're ready to roll through it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, and we're going to go through some of the stuff that I've acquired. We now know that the assailant, Brian Kohberger, showed back up at that house in the morning of the 13th. They said he pinged in that area in front of that home around 9:12, I believe is what the report said. I'm not reading it verbatim because I don't have it right in front of me. I'm looking at the screen in the chat. So I'm just, so it's around, I'm just going to say around 9. Oh, thank you. Christina F., thank you so much for the super sticker and the $4.99. God bless you. Thank you. So let me just go ahead and pull this up and get right onto it. This is why, and I do believe this. Let me tell you what I believe first. I absolutely believe 100% that Brian Kohberger entered that home a second time that morning, when he realized law enforcement wasn't there, I believe that his curiosity got the best of him, and he wanted to see if they were still in the same place as he left them. I believe he was in that house that morning. I believe that's why he went back over there. And I believe he was shocked when law enforcement still wasn't there. And I think that will explain all these statements that we heard that were so confusing to us when everybody knew he went out the back door, the back sliding glass door. That's where where they were focusing a lot of the police efforts, a lot of the, dusting, and they really opened up that crime scene, backed up the tape, and wrapped it out the back door. He went out the back sliding door from the kitchen, according to Dylan Mortensen. And yeah, I see somebody talking about the sheathing. Thank you, Miss Renee. I appreciate the super sticker and the $4. Thank you. He went back for the knife cover. That is a possibility. He could have also went back to plant it. He went back to get it, or he went back to plant it. Or he didn't even realize he left it. He just wanted to see if they were there. But where it was positioned, from what I'm saying, many people said it was under Maddie. I read that affidavit several times. It appeared it was laying right next to her leg. In open view. That's not something an assailant would have forgotten. But let's get on with it.
And then there is this story of what another neighbor saw. Reports that a neighbor told the police that she saw the front door of the kid's home wide open about 8:30 a.m. on the morning of the murders.
So, what do you think about that? Now we know. Nobody could I thought that this person, this witness, had lost their ever-loving mind. I thought that they had mistaken it for a different day. I really did. But what did it tell us? And we had explored that. So I'm just curious as to what truly transpired there. Oh, hold on. Jennifer, thank you so much for the super sticker and the $4.99. God bless you. He was looking for the sheathing. I don't know if he was, but it's possible. Why plant the sheathing? Because it was so wonderfully placed there with the United States Marine Corps and K-bar knife, K-bar emblem on the thing. I think it was an effort to throw this off. I think he did this in an effort to make it appear that somebody from the ROTC program and or a person of military background committed this crime. I believe everything that man did, he did intentionally. I don't think he made a mistake like that. I really don't. Based upon everything I'm hearing, seeing, and the knowledge of him that I have, makes me feel that sheathing being left behind was no accident. There was a reason why it was there. There's a reason why he left it. Jules Lilly says, do you think the reason he left Dylan alone is because Ethan was last and he didn't expect that? I believe it's a couple of things as to why he left Dylan alone and left her alive. One, he was so high from the kill, he didn't even notice she was there. That's what I truly believe. I believe this man would have killed her in a heartbeat if he knew she could be a witness or help identify him. I don't believe he would have killed her. Or he would have killed her, rather. The other thing that it could be is she was never the target, that he had no problem with her, that she was not part of the victim he was looking for. Um, these murderers have a type or a type of victim that they have in mind. So, I don't know. And then we're hearing that, this guy suffers from ED. I don't know that to be true. Nobody knows that to be true. There were some statements that said there was some dysfunction and they believe it was from him. But depending on what that dysfunction is, could it be? It's possible he could have some issues. They say that, the SA part of the crime happens before the crime. And I don't know, but I almost feel like it happens after the crime in this case. And I don't know why I feel that way. Maybe it's because I just don't have the experience or the knowledge related to, the serial killer aspect of a crime. I never really studied a lot of serial killers. I've never really got into the minds of them. I never really, I've watched many documentaries on different ones, but never really studied them. I've never really studied them. So I don't know the SA aspect of this case. We know that there was no SA at the home with any of these victims. It didn't seem to be that was the motivation. To me, that was never the motivation to begin with. I believe it was power. I believe that's what he was seeking. He has the superiority complex. And these people that he killed, I believe he felt or deemed far superior than him. Or at least they thought they were. I'd have to put that in there. Obsessed with true crime says, remember that video Olivia pointed out, the white car driving past on the road above or behind the house? Yes, but that was around 3 something in the morning. I don't believe he was there at that time. He might, but you know what? He may have been watching the community, up there on that back road. I mean, there were police officers in the area, and up there on that higher elevation gives you a pretty good lay of the land. One, looking directly at the house and that band field. You could see that portions of that band field. They would know that those kids were dealing with law enforcement at the time. He could probably see law enforcement. He probably waited until law enforcement cleared out of the area before he made his move. But let's get on with some other articles, and then I'm going to open the phone lines up because we've already been talking about 42 minutes. And I know you guys have a lot of questions. You guys have a lot of statements, so we will get to those in just a second. Let me go ahead and move back over. So this just goes into articles. Creepy scene. Eerie new details emerge from Idaho murderers after neighbors saw door wide open following the brutal killing that left 4 dead. And that is the problem I have. We never understood about that door, but now that we're hearing with the probable cause affidavit, that he truly went back to the house that morning. This brings this whole front door being left open because we knew he didn't enter the front door and he didn't exit the front door. And we were talking about this and we said it so many times, that's what made me believe that whoever said this door was open had confused it with a different day, because we knew everybody in the house that was still alive was sleeping at that time. And we know that the assailant exited out the back of the house because of us monitoring and watching the movements of law enforcement when they were conducting their investigation. It appeared that the investigation moved out the back door. That was a good indicator for us that the assailant went that way. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone that way. Something was forcing them out that back door. We heard early on that the law enforcement officer couldn't remember whether the door was open or shut. But we have to remember that somebody ran out the door if what we're hearing is true about the unconscious person passing out there in the driveway after they ran out the door, right? So that is why they probably didn't even know that the door was open, wide open. But I can guarantee that the people in the community, knowing this was a party house, probably as they drive by, just look over at it. And somebody probably saw that door open and saying, wow, we've never seen the door left open before. Even when they have all the parties, people are going in and out that door, but they're not leaving the door wide open. So it causes some concern, about that. Okay, we didn't get that one. And it just goes on to more okay. I'll go ahead and do that. And again, Idaho student murders. Neighbors saw front door wide open morning after attack. This is what's making me believe this sick, twisted MFer actually went back in that house. I believe he went back in that house. I believe he realized law enforcement wasn't there. He, in his mind, believed he killed everyone in the home. And I believe he went in and he saw his work hours later. Hours later. I truly believe he went inside that house a second time. You're not going to be able to convince me otherwise. There is no reason his car is that close to that house and the front door is left wide open, so much so that another neighbor notices it. Would another neighbor notice a white Hyundai Elantra in the area? Probably not, because it's a popular make and model of car for students at that school. Being there, I don't know how many white Elantras I saw, but there were a few. I don't know the age, the year of them, but I can tell you that a normal person like me, when you're looking for a Hyundai Elantra, you're looking for a Hyundai Elantra. You're not really paying attention. Who the hell knows what year it is, because a lot of the body styles stay the same for many years. But if he purposely planted the sheathing to throw them off, then why was he stupid enough to leave his fingerprint on it? His fingerprint wasn't left on it, Christina. One tiny speck of DNA was found. One tiny speck of DNA was found on the button. And I believe that was his fatal flaw. I believe he cleaned everything up so much so that nothing could possibly have his DNA on it, because again, he is a criminology major. He studies a lot about DNA. He knows probably the cleaning techniques for DNA because of his training. That's what the criminology training is about. And I believe he never intended to leave his DNA on that. I believe he cleaned it up so much so, but he missed one tiny spot. And that one tiny spot, law enforcement found. Because law enforcement is much smarter than this Yahoo. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else. And clearly he's not. He was probably the quickest arrested serial killer in United States history. That's pathetic. If you're really trying to be a serial killer and trying to show how smart you are, yeah, I think we just put you down to size, buddy. I think we just put you down to size, courtesy of Mascow Police Department, Idaho State Police, and the FBI. You definitely weren't smarter than them. But that's just my opinion. I don't know why I believe he planted it. And it's not even planted. I think he used the K-bar knife. I mean, I think it's been proven that the K-bar knife has been used. I never saw that it was that they, with 100% specificity, stated that that knife was used. Because remember, if you read the autopsy and stuff, it never indicated the type of knife, only a fixed blade knife, if I'm not mistaken, rigid or something that causes tearing. I can't remember how it was written. It's because it's been so long since I saw the information come out from the coroner. But if I recall, even the description of it was talking about tearing of the skin. So I don't know if that sheathing was left and he never used that type of knife, or he actually used that knife. But I just, where the placement of that sheathing was, it just makes me feel that it was intentional. It wasn't something that was just merely accidentally left. I feel like it was intentional. It was intentionally placed there. I think that's what gets all of us. And people can beat Bullhorn Betty up. I mean, they've been doing it for a year. Like right now, it doesn't even bother me. You guys can post and tag and flag and whatever the hell y'all want to do. I mean, it really doesn't, it's no consequence to me because it's been happening for so long. And as you guys can tell, I'm taking major action to prevent this stuff from ever happening to other people again. And, you know, whether people like it, if something, you know, whatever, it is what it is. Let's see here. 8 hours. And I'm upset about that, Cowboy. I really am. I'm upset about that. And I'm allowed to be. And you are allowed to be too. We have a right to be upset that a girl, 20 years old, hears all these things, hears the crime, sees an intruder, shuts her door, locks it, and goes to sleep. I've got a problem with that. I'm sorry. Sue me. I've got a huge problem with that. You know, I'm sorry that Dylan's going through this. I really am. But seriously, you saw a man in in your home, head to toe in black. And he had to look pretty effing insane when he was walking past her, don't you think? Think about it. He had to have been looking completely, utterly insane. He literally just massacred 4 people in their home, and we kept hearing that they were sleeping. It doesn't seem like they were sleeping at all. It's scary. It's scary. So what do you guys think about the whole thing related to, you know, related to this whole situation with the door being left open? I'm curious of your thoughts. That's what this is about. I really don't want to go into Dylan Mortensen too much on this particular channel today. We are going to dive into her. So all the haters out there, I'll make sure you're notified when I decide to dive a little deeper into this situation with Dylan. Do I feel bad for her? I absolutely do feel bad for her. You know, I might be a bitch, but I'm not a heartless bitch. Okay. I care about these kids. You know, when people were trying to blame Dylan Mortensen for committing these crimes. Now, remember, her name did get brought up. Her name did go through the mud as to being a part. I didn't engage in that. Nothing told me that she was responsible for this crime. Nothing. Nothing at all. So I didn't engage in that. But I have every right to bring up and question why it took someone 8 hours to call the police when all these things were going on. Many of us are saying, what the F? And we have a right to do that. And if people don't like it, oh well. This is America. You don't have to like what I do, and I damn sure don't have to like what you do. So you guys call in. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about the whole door thing. Now that we know this man went back to this house, did he go inside? Did he make a second trip in? I guarantee you, I bet you everything. I bet my channel he went into that house. I bet my channel he went into that house. Haters, prove me wrong. You want me off YouTube so bad? Prove to me that he didn't go in that house and show receipts. Show receipts. This is Betty.
Hi, Betty. How are you this morning?
I am doing well. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Laura, enlightened being in the chat, and from Florida.
Oh, wonderful. In my own backyard. Nice to hear from you.
Nice. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Yeah, this whole case is just absolutely mind-blowing. And then the affidavit being released with all the additional details, which still I feel like we're not getting the full picture here. It's just enough of what they wanted to get him arrested with. So I think we're missing some pieces here.
I do too.
The door being open, it does seem like your theory with him possibly re-entering the home. I just think that if he went through the front door, it would have been too obvious, and he definitely would have been caught on camera going into the house. So that still is kind of a mystery as to, you know, why that door was left open. Could it have been that Dylan came out and possibly, I think some theory, we had some theories previously that said she potentially may have somebody opened that front door hoping somebody else would come into the house and find the scene, which kind of correlates with the fact that Dylan, you know, she didn't call anybody, but when she did finally call folks over, she did call a few friends over first. Maybe she was I mean, I'm with you 100%. I feel bad that she's been put in this situation. I do feel that at 20 years old, my daughter's 26, like the first thing you would have done was call 911.
Exactly.
You know, she wasn't frozen in fear to open the door 3 times. She wasn't frozen, you know. So, you know, you could have she could have texted them, just put 911, left the phone there and
it just, there was 1,000 things. And I'm sure she's probably, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, she was friends with these people. Let's be honest. We see multiple photos of them having a great time of their life, you know, living the university, you know, life up and then this. So it's not, I'm sure, you know, I can't imagine what she's going through. I mean, in all reality.
Sure. I mean, that makes me think that maybe she was so terrified that she didn't want to leave her room. She needed support to get out of that room. Maybe she ran to open the door, but my theory is like, it's just so odd to me. If he came in that back sliding door, he went up the stairs. I mean, he's how much does he weigh? 187?
Yeah, she's about 185 pounds is what they listed him as.
He went up and down the stairs. She woke up at 4. She heard Kaylee, supposedly. She had to have heard footsteps. He goes past her door 3 times. Once to get upstairs, once to come downstairs, go to the front of the house, and then past her door again to leave. But he never goes to her door. It's just so odd. Why would he go to the front of the house? I mean, I know it doesn't matter anymore, but
yeah, his movements, I'm very curious. This is what I'm curious about. I want to know about his movements because, you know, he studied these serial killers and we have to understand him because this is not going to be the last time we're going to deal with some sicko like this.
Right.
And this is, you know, I always take everything, not just like this is a horrible situation, but I always like to learn from horrible situations. So I want to garner some new information that we can utilize and apply to other cases. And this one is the one, like this guy is freaking off his rocker.
Yeah, and my hope and prayer is that my God, I mean, I just listened to Truth and Transparency last night, and she was kind of vetting out a little bit of what the defense would be attacking, you know, with this whole thing of timelines and how they got his phone ping, and you know, and I'm thinking, my God, if this guy gets off, I mean, if he walks for some unknown reason, which I don't think is going to happen, but my God, that is a scary thought.
Yeah,
because he would be out there, and I definitely know. I mean, I hate to be judgmental book by its cover, but like you can see some darkness there when he was pulled over from those police footage of him being pulled over with his father. There was a darkness, I feel, inside of him.
Yeah.
You know, that he was already agitated, kind of his eyes were moving very quickly, you know, back to his father, back to the detective who pulled him over, you know, shifty is what I mean, you know. So I just, that's my biggest concern. Like you, if we can pull some knowledge from this case, I mean, obviously I hate to say, you know, the poor guy, I mean, he's sick. Something went wrong in his life. He's got issues, mental issues, you know,
right.
Where this fantasy, he had to fulfill this fantasy. And I just, my heart utterly breaks for the family. And, you know, and we're all watching this. It's just like we all have children, you know, it could have been our kids. It could have been us. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just like, holy cow, the nerve that this guy had to just, you know, take his fantasies and act them out so he could just, you know, and that's what's most upsetting. It's like there wasn't even really a real motive. It was more or less him just fulfilling this desire to, you know, really see how that felt. And that's so sad.
Let me ask you this before you go. I know you're about to wind down and get off here, but let me ask you this. What do you feel? How does it make you feel to know that this man has committed these atrocities. Now, I have to believe that many people in this chat are like me. And for example, like Dolly Vision. What did Dolly Vision say yesterday? He sat there and said on his channel that if it was his kid, he's looking over at that guy. He's thinking about how long it'd take him to get from that place to have his hands wrapped around that man's neck before the bailiffs get him. And when he was saying that and describing that, it's like I felt that. Myself, how do you feel the family holding themselves together and being inside that courtroom? I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't. I mean, my daughter is my light. Mr. Gonzalez is. I mean, he's a hero to all of us and a beacon of light and hope. I mean, he's really holding it together. And like he said yesterday, I think he reported. You know, it was probably there were things running through his mind. Mm-hmm. Of course, I feel like he wants to pounce. I definitely feel like it's taking God, everything in this man's being, to hold himself accountable, to let the justice system follow this pursuit of justice. Mm-hmm. and see that this goes through that way. Nothing good would come out of him jumping up and attacking him. I mean, then he would be it would just make a mess. But absolutely, I mean, I'm sitting here saying things like the guy needs to be hung up by his feet and toenails ripped out and burns all over. I mean, he should be tortured just as much as he tortured those children. Mm-hmm. And he knows. I mean, from the account of the affidavit, it doesn't seem like they were asleep. I mean, Dana just got food. She was on TikTok at 4:12, and Kaylee has made a comment, supposedly, if that was, an accurate assessment. Mm-hmm. Was it Kaylee? Was it Dana? Well, we really won't know. But those children were awake. I mean, I know they were adults, but, right. In my opinion, we're older women now. So it's like, right. But I just, people use.
But I just even, like my sister, many people don't know, I have a younger sister. She's 18 years younger than me. Okay. She just got out of college a few years ago herself. She went to a university herself. I had to drive her in a mountain of crap for 6 weeks. I will never do that again. Thank God she's graduated. But but I can't see, she lived in a house where she had other roommates and they brought people over and stuff like that. I don't know a time when she would allow a masked person to be in her home without calling law. Like my sister would be on the phone with law enforcement. I'm sure shock would have set in, but you snap out of shock. Shock is not a state of mind that lasts forever. I mean, in some cases it could, but that doesn't sound like what happened here.
Right. And she didn't witness, apparently, I mean, from what we know, she didn't witness the actual murders taking place, which that would be more of a state of absolute horror and shock, right? That would shut you down. Like Michael Myers, when we see Jamie Lee Curtis, she's in a state of like absolute shock and horror, but like, just the simple fact that you just seen this person, you heard some very unusual movement and noises. I mean, the house next door picked up that audio. Yeah. So, if that house, which was 50 yards next to the other house that picked up those strange noises, we know she heard more than what's in that affidavit. Yeah. So it's like, absolutely. I mean, to open the door 3 times is a telltale for me. You definitely should have taken action, not 8 hours later. That is a miscarriage of justice. I mean, and there are people saying, could she potentially be prosecuted or held accountable because she did not call? And so that is, I don't know how that all plays out. And I do feel bad. I feel bad for her. But I mean, like you said this morning too, I think the family reached out to Dylan and she never responded. That seems a little...
It upsets me. It upsets me because especially knowing that she ran into this guy, knowing that she could have lended some kind of comfort to the family and just ghosted them. I just felt that was, I'm sure she's young. She doesn't know what to do. She's probably confused. I'm sure, I don't want to blame too much, but there is some, she made a lot of bad mistakes and, You know, we have a right to question that in the true crime industry.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah, and
know?
nobody's saying guilty, not guilty. We're
Right.
not
I'm
the
not saying
judges
she had
here, but
anything to do with this. And I will never say that because I never jumped on the bandwagon when everybody else was trying to accuse her and her boyfriend of concocting this. I didn't jump on that bandwagon. I listened
Right.
and I was open minded to the possibility as, you know, we're exploring the case. You got to be open minded to all these possibilities in a whodunit.
absolutely.
But I never jumped on the bandwagon. I couldn't find that one piece that really stood out to me that said Dylan was responsible for this. But you know what? And of course, maybe some of her behaviors after this were, you know, got the attention of people, but that could have been because now we know she did see something. She did hear something. She has to be going. Now we probably know why Quinn was so upset because he's probably watching his beautiful girlfriend just being destroyed by this whole entire case. And it's got to be hard for everybody that's around.
Oh yeah, terribly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a terrible situation for and that's another thing. I look at this guy and I think to myself, I'm thinking, you know, this guy was so selfish. He didn't care about his family, how this would impact his family. I know he probably didn't think he was going to get caught.
That's
He
it.
probably thinks he's smarter than everybody else, like you said. But he absolutely is such a selfish person because you didn't even think, how's this going to affect my mother, my father? He was mouthing, I love you, but you don't, do you? You don't truly love them
Because he
you
doesn't
went
know
and did
how.
such a horrific act. Right, exactly. And you don't care about the families that you impacted. You only care about your self-serving desires and fulfilling those. And that's what's really kind of more astonishing. It's like, my God, the magnitude of somebody even having that inside of them. Like you said, this isn't going to probably be the last, you know, of course, and that's horrible to even think. And my God, all of us lock our doors, check them twice, you know, have protection.
I made sure my door was locked last night, just to let you know.
Yeah. I mean, I check it multiple times now. I mean, I have protection, but you don't know what would happen if you're surprised.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm thinking, man, I'd be jumping up on my bed. You're going to have to catch me.
Right.
You're going to have to catch me. I'm throwing everything I have, you know. So, you know, women out there take defensive courses, you know, be head on a swivel. Like, we all just have to be aware. And as sad as that is, I mean,
even in our own house, you hear a weird creak, you know, you got to go. You either have to go check it out or call law. You know, if your internal gut is telling you something ain't right, I can guarantee something ain't right.
That's right. That's right. When your gut is telling you, and of course, if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
Call 911, text 911, call them and leave your phone there. Even if you have to leave your phone, they will respond as a wellness check.
Yeah.
Because they can track that call. You know, so you don't even have to squeak a word out if you feel like, oh my God, I'm in a position I can't, say anything because I'm so terrified. Just leave that phone call 911
and even if it was a prank, even if it was a person that was just doing a prank walking through their house because it was a party house or something like that, it would stop that from ever happening again. Nobody should ever be terrified in their house over a prank. I mean, you know, these are college kids and stuff like that. Could she have thought that was possibly, but that's not what was alleged in the statement. So
that's right.
You know, but that's also not her affidavit. Only a portion of her affidavit was put into that statement for the probable cause.
Right.
So,
well, it's very interesting to see how this unfolds, and I'm watching and I'm listening, and I love your channel. You guys have done, you and Olivia have done such a fantastic job, and it's just really nice to be able to even call in and express our feelings. You know, a lot of you guys, I mean, I was almost inspired to start my own channel. I'm like, my boyfriend's last night, he's like, you should start your own channel, you know, and I'm like, it's nice to be able to have a place to go when we're all, you know, going through this, and thank you for creating the space for us and allowing us to have a voice in the community. So
absolutely. Well, you guys help me too, because, you know, I mean, I think of theories, but I tell you what, when I come on here and talk to you guys put so many other options, you know, and theories in there that we can explore. And that's important because we're left out here hanging to dry because law enforcement's not going to give us information. You know, if we're going to find anything, we got to do it the hard way. We got to find it ourselves.
The old-fashioned way.
Yep.
The old-fashioned way. And there's so many brilliant people. I mean, it's nice to have like the the masses, like consciousness, collective consciousness working together to really just come together and focus on something. And I think it creates a connection between all of us. And I do truly feel a camaraderie with everyone, even though, I might not be in chat all the time, but I'm listening, and few times I'm in there, everybody's just really nice. Even if we do have difference of opinion, I don't think there's too much. It's like, we're all just, kind of out there, like, this is a thought, this is a theory, this is, nothing is actual fact until everything comes out.
Until everything, yeah. But, I was pleasantly surprised. So far, we're doing good. Without, with a few details off. This channel has really analyzed this case pretty good. So I'm very pleased with that. And I'm very pleased with all the participation that helped guide us through all of this. And just really pleased. So, yeah. And God bless.
You guys have been doing amazing. Your trip out there, just, out showing us the area, walking to try to see, like, hey, could he have thrown the knife over here? Could he have done this? Going into the axe throwing, the whole thing. It's just been really nice to be able to see these things. You guys have done a tremendous amount of work. So
I appreciate it. Well, God bless you and have a wonderful day.
God bless you. You too. Thank you so much again, Betty. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So I turned off the phones just for a split second. I know people were calling in. I didn't turn it off because you were calling in. I turned it off because we have some information that is coming out and I wanted you guys to hear it. And it's going to be, this is what they perceive as Ethan potentially screaming. So I'm not going to show it. I don't know what's on it, but we will go ahead and play it just for you guys here in just a second. Let me get it pulled up here. It's not so. It says at approximately 4:17, the security camera located at 1112 King Road residence immediately to the northwest of 1122 King Road picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or whimpering, followed by a thud. Dogs can be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. That's whispering. You can't understand what the female's saying. There's a break in audio. You can hear the dogs barking. There's yelling inside 1122 King Road. Break in audio. You can hear a male's voice inside 1122. You heard that scream? Did you hear that scream? Let's hear it again. Almost sounded like he said, get out of here, or something like that. I don't know, but there's some audio. Let me keep playing. They're doing what you're not seeing is they're showing the interior of the door. Brian Koberger walked past Dylan's room twice. And so they're showing the interior door. I'm not showing you guys because I didn't know what was on here. So I'll have to repost this here in just a little bit. They're just going through the house. Now it says, DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom in the south side of the door. DM stated she awoke approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonzalez playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedroom, which were located on the third floor. A short time later, DM said she heard what she thought of Gonclays or something to the effect, thought was gone, Clay. Is there something to the effect there's someone here? A review records obtained from forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed that this could have been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake using TikTok app at 4:12. Stated she looked out her bedroom but didn't see anything. She was heard. We already read all this stuff here. We keep going. At approximately 4:17, a security camera located at 1112, a resident immediately to the northwest of 112, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices and whimpering, followed by a loud thud. A dog can be heard barking several times starting at 4:17. The security camera was 50 feet from Kernodle's room. Just see if this is just going to be all this statements here. Hold on. Yeah, just going through the room again. So I want to go back to the beginning to the audio. Okay, here we go. So this is from inside the 11122. All the other stuff you can hear. There's a break in the audio. Dog barking. You can hear yelling from inside the house, and you can hear a man saying no. And you can hear a bunch of, you can't make out the garble. There's a break in audio. And you can hear a male voice say Z or Xana. You can't, I can't tell which, but you can hear somebody hollering. And you can hear, hold on. Female, help him, unintelligible. So it sounds like somebody is in there saying, help him. A man yelling inside, and I could have sworn it says, get out, or something to that effect, but I can't make it out. Oh. So directly from your mobile, you'll be able to hear it much clearer. I agree, Dodging Bullet. There's no way, in my opinion, she did not hear that. I mean, come on, guys. We're getting stuff that's coming out, that's leaking, and things like that. I see some people had. I wasn't paying attention here. Hold on, let me go back up. Okay, there's the shiznit. Okay. BHB, what's your expert opinion as to why DM behaved as she did? Do you have a formal education in psychology to back up your theory? Can you reference studies of similar behaviors in similar circumstances? First of all, no, I don't. Psychology, yes, I've studied psychology in my college courses. It's actually one of the requirements that I had to take in my paralegal studies. So yes, I do have an education in psychology, limited in nature, but definitely a cursory view of the psychology major. As far as her behavior, yeah, it's very much explained. I believe she was utilizing some kind of pharmaceuticals or narcotics. That is the only reason for the explanation of her behavior. She was scared of getting in trouble for something. That's my expert opinion. Do I have studies related to similar circumstances? I haven't reviewed studies related to similar circumstances, but I mean, a lot of people do work here on the channel and send it to me. So if you'd like to be, saddled with that, send me some behavioral stuff. I'll review them and explain them I'll read them, and then I'll explain my opinion of them if you'd like. But I really don't have to, I really haven't had time to review studies. As you know, I just did 2 trips out to Idaho. That's very time consuming. Video editing is very time consuming. Getting stuff out is very time consuming. Reading about details related to Brian Koberger is very time consuming. But the psychology related to Dylan's behavior, it appears to me that she was worried about getting in trouble for something. And it makes me wonder what it is, because I can't imagine a young girl that was friends with these would allow her friends to delay dying. No normal person would do that. So there was something there, in my opinion, that has altered her and altered her behavior in some way. That's really an opinion. It's a theory. It's nothing that's factually backed up by any stretch of the imagination. But I hope that clarifies your question. And thank you for the 1999 super chat. I appreciate that. I hope I clarified that. But yeah, I would like to. I just don't have time. I'll read them if they're. I just don't have time to research that, because right now I'm in the process of researching everything I can about Brian Koberger, and so that's where my focus is. But I'm happy to entertain and read any kind of reference studies or similar information related to psychology or people that have behaved the same way Dylan Mortensen has. Some people say PTSD and stuff like that. I've known people with PTSD. My best friend's son is in the military. We watched him when he came back from the military suffer gravely. It was really horrible to watch. So I do have an experience and an understanding of PTSD, but I can tell you nothing lasts forever. And, he was in war. So it was like, it's hard because he still was able to function. It does come and go, but it goes away too. So again, there's a lot of theories going out as to why her behavior was that of what it was. But those are some theories that are thrown out there that I can stand behind as part of my explanation. MK Ultra is Gurnan program. I don't get into all that petty stuff with creators. I don't know who he is. I really don't care for him. I don't know what he does. It's not in my purview. Enlightened Being, the newest member of the Coffee Club. God bless you. Liberty, thank you for your super chat. Yeah, absolutely. And Liberty, in all reality, that is a good question, and probably something that we should be looking into on a psychological type of thing, but I just don't have the time. Dylan is not really my primary focus. It's learning everything I can about Brian, as many of you guys want to know, because he's a very interesting creature, to say the least, of how he thinks, what changed in his life to make him where he is. Today, I have no idea, but I believe whatever triggered back when he was a teenager, when he had that massive weight loss. That was when he was moving toward this. And how many other people find it odd? Like, his whole family is a little weird. Let's be honest. We have sister that's been in a horror movie where she gets massacred, right? We have mom that's responding about Ted Bundy and about, people applauding Ted Bundy's hearse for driving past a serial killer that caused atrocities. Yeah, we're happy that he is no longer with us, and she's worried about his life. It's just a lot of weird stuff, just a lot of weird stuff that's going on in his life and his family and things of that nature. And we're just scratching our heads saying, hey, what's going on here? What's his family life like? And so we start looking into the family. I also saw on Jonathan Lee Rich's page that it appears that the biggest group on Reddit is now banning people for bringing up Dylan's name or this guy's parents. Like, you can't now on Reddit, on the biggest thread of YouTube, which is the Idaho murders, and you're telling people they can't even discuss the possibility of Dylan or their parents having some knowledge. I'm sorry, but I don't believe Dylan did have any knowledge. I have to be honest with you, but to prevent people from exploring that is disgusting. Why have a discussion group if you can't discuss? So I am a little I don't know, set back by that statement. But you know what? And that's why we have YouTube channels. You know, I'm not going to sit there and deal with somebody from Reddit saying that I can't discuss what I want to talk about. Well, guess what? I don't need to discuss it on your thread. I'll discuss it on my own. How about that? I may go on Reddit and start a new thread that discusses Dylan Mortensen and the parents' involvement. So people have a place to, you know, purge those thoughts. Good morning, Mr. Vision. Nice to see you. How's your vision this morning? We're talking about, if you're coming in, I know you're probably just waking up because you sleep all day. But we are in the process of discussing whether this guy went back into that house, and I believe he did. I think he went inside that house a second time. When he showed up at that house at 9:12, I believe that's the reason why that front door was wide open. And so I played on here for the audience some clips related to that witness coming forward about the door being wide open. She believed around 8:30, 9 o'clock. It's easy to mistake in time, for 30 or some minutes, especially if you're not just watching your clock. You just know it was in the morning and you know what your schedule was. So she said between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Well, we know he arrived back there around 9:12, I believe is what the affidavit said. And so that kind of jives. The door was not open. Rhonda, that's not necessarily true. We have witnesses, and we went through that. You need to go back to the beginning of my my page, because after that witness came forward, law enforcement even stepped out and said, well, we couldn't have determined whether the front door was open or not, because when they got there, people were already outside of the house. So, but we do have a witness that drove by that house that stated that door was wide open around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And we didn't think anything of that statement when it was being made, because nobody believed that the assailant went out the front door, and we kind of blew it off. At least for me, I blew it off as it being a mistaken date. Like they must have been, it may have been a day earlier or a day later or something like that. But I believe he went back in that house, because now that we know that this door was open at around the same time, wide open as the witness stated, wide open. And now we know he returned to the scene of the crime first thing in the morning. I believe he went in that house. He may have went in that house, one, to look at his work, to see if they were still there. He knew law enforcement wasn't there. Or he went there to plant the sheathing. Maybe he did that intentionally. Maybe he went there to find it. Maybe he didn't know where he left it. But I still believe this dude went inside that house a second time. And I think it was that morning before anybody was around. People were talking about how it was unusually quiet in that neighborhood that evening. Unusually quiet. One neighbor stated that every night she goes to bed, she has to put earplugs in. And for whatever reason, that night, it was so quiet, she didn't even need them. I believe so, Julie. I truly believe so. Somebody says, I think it was left there purely by accident. It's possible, Quinny. You're right. There are possibilities. Just because I see it doesn't make it true, right? That's just my theory. I believe that there's some things. But anyways, without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and pop the thing back on. But I do want to go ahead and listen to this audio one more time, because this is the audio from 228 or 1112, right next door to them. And I want to hear it because you hear muffled sounds and you definitely hear screaming in the back. The female laughing, because it's so close to that camera, actually sounds like the people that reside in the 1112 house. The faint sounds are the ones that are coming from 1122 King Road. It sounds like whispering. There's a break in audio. That was dogs barking. That rough, that was dogs barking. You hear a male's voice say no, but it's faint and in the distance. So I believe that that is Ethan. Break in audio. You can hear a faint male voice, but you can't hardly hear it, but it's faint. You heard somebody say Z. It almost sounded like they said Z. Let's listen to that again. That sounded like he screamed really loud. Xena! Didn't it? Can you guys hear that well? Should I try to download this or do this in a different way? I can do this a different way if the audio will be better. Are you guys here? Let me get back to the comments here. Can you guys hear the he might have said leave. It sounded like Z. And right there at the end when the person screamed, it sounded like they screamed Xena. Or yeah, it does. Hold on, let's listen to it again. That sounds like it says Xena. And I know her name's Xana, but it sounds like it says Xena. Let's listen to that again. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're saying, but that that's just, it's horrible. It's hard to listen to, but that's loud. I don't know about you. That's loud. That's freaking loud. Hurry. All right, let's see what we got. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty. I agree. How did she not hear that? How did she not hear any of that going on? Like, I'm very beside myself on all this. And when he was walking out, was he not covered in blood?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, but I got to think that the house was a little dark, and with him in black clothing, she may not have seen it, but I would think it would have been in the, like, on his face, near his eye, anything that had
somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
As gruesome as it was in there, it would be on her. And like, I've been held hostage before. When I was 15, I was held hostage in a situation that I should have never been in because I started young, met an older guy, got pregnant by him, and his family was really dysfunctional, and I got brought into something that I should not have been brought into. I was brought to that house that night for a family meeting, and it turned out to be a hostage situation where, including my son's father, his brother, and then their father and his partner were beat with a tire iron.
Yeah.
And it looked like a murder scene, like everywhere.
Yeah, I have to imagine that it was pretty gruesome inside, and people are asking why, they didn't. Oh, wow. Well, Karen Davis just let me know that we just got 24,000 subscribers. Nice, guys.
My thing, I want to know why she didn't call for 8 hours, because after the men left us, there was 2 men. After they left 8 of us in this trailer out in the middle of the country, they left us in there, and they told us they had the house surrounded. And obviously we believed them after what they just did.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you know, they have killed 2 people, and, you know, it was just horrible. So anyway, we believed them. But after, it seemed like an eternity, but after maybe, I'd say 5 minutes, my son's father was army crawling to the doors to make sure they were locked. We were checking all of the phones that they had tried to destroy to make sure, to see if one worked. And we were finally able to get one that worked to call out to 911.
Mhm.
It wasn't an 8-hour ordeal. And I mean, like, one of the kids that were there, he was 16. He ended up vomiting from the trauma, because I mean, it's traumatic when you go through something like that. Absolutely, it's traumatic. But even with us being involved in the situation, it didn't take us that long to call for help, because the first thing on your mind is, I need to get somebody here that's going to help me, because this person could come back.
Yeah.
And if they come back, they're going to kill us.
Right.
And for her, you know, like, I just don't see where, and I know they're saying, oh, don't criticize her, but my thing is, why did she not try to get help? If there were people next door, obviously, that were talking, awake, she could have opened her window. She could have yelled out. She could have, you know, used her cell phone, or, you know, once she knew he was gone, you know, if she didn't have her cell phone in her room for whatever reason, went to the, you know, to get her cell phone, or to the other roommate. You know, there's so many scenarios that in my mind, other than going to sleep for 8 hours.
Mhm.
You don't sleep after that. I didn't sleep that entire night I was held hostage. I didn't sleep that entire night, because even though I knew that the cops had already arrested those 2 guys, I didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
There was no way I was feeling safe. I was scared to death.
Right.
So I just don't understand why 8 hours. People say,
Yeah,
oh,
that's
we
that. I
react
think that is
differently
what
against
that's
some
that.
things.
That is the
And
issue.
she saw him. And she saw him. The thing is, she saw him. And I agree with you. I think he did come back in. I think he came back in once he realized that sleep was gone or whatever. Honestly, I think he might have said something to her.
I really
do.
believe he
I
pulled
think-
I believe he pulled his mask down and showed them their face. If I know anything about the power person, the person that's killing for power, they want the person to know who took their life. And I just feel like he just pulled that face mask down and showed her.
Yes. And with Dylan, I think he said something to her on the way out the house. I think he said something to her to make her not call in or something.
Wow.
I really do.
Yeah, because we don't
really
have her
do.
whole statement. We do not have her whole statement.
We don't have the whole statement. And that's the only thing that can make sense to me for her to not call for 8 hours. Because when they told us that they had the house surrounded, they were going to shoot it up. You know, if we moved for an hour, they gave us an hour time frame.
Mhm.
What if he said, if you call the cops and I see the cops, you know, here, like, you're next. They don't know who I am. You're next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You never know if that could have happened. And once it all comes out, I'll be interested to see what it says. But the fact that she waited 8 hours, it just doesn't sit right. There has to be a reason for that. There has to be, or else she's involved.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I'm gonna go ahead and play the audio.
Absolutely.
Pebbles just got back into the room, and I know she wanted to hear it.
Absolutely. All right, Betty. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank
I
you. God
appreciate
bless.
it.
Call back in anytime.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, I disabled the phones just real quick because I just noticed Pebbles wasn't here. Pebbles, I'm going to go ahead and play this for you now. This is leaked audio. This is leaked audio of the Ring doorbell camera that was 50 feet from Xana's room, and you can hear what is going on. You can hear Ethan. You can hear it. This was much louder than what we anticipated, and I'm questioning how Dylan didn't hear any of this. Or if she did. We don't have the full statement out of Dylan. that's the dog barking. You're going to hear some male voices. I'm going to shut up, but you're going to hear some male voices. I'm going to play it, and you're going to hear screaming. And you're going to hear somebody saying Z, and then it almost sounds like somebody screaming, Xena. You can hear men screaming in the background behind. Breaking audio. That's the Z. So there's something that absolutely happened. That was Ethan's voice. That was Ethan's voice. I want you guys to hear that again. He says Z, and then he... Yeah, it sounds like he screamed, Xena, Xena. So it sounds like he just found Xana. So it makes me wonder now that we're hearing this. Follow me in my theory. What if he got up and went to the bathroom and this assailant came in there and murdered Xana? He walks back in and sees her, and this guy is like right behind him. Like, I'm starting to theorize this whole stuff. Chrissy, go away. Who's Chrissy and why is she in here? If she's starting problems, just boot her. Aren't y'all are smarter than LE? Chrissy, yeah, get the hell out of here. We don't need your shit here. Bye-bye. Go back to your jellyfish. Go back to the sea of misfits. We are too intelligent for people like you. This was happening outside Dylan's. Yes. Well, that not necessarily right outside of Dylan. So the way that the property is set up is they're split. So you had, like, on the second floor, you've got the living room and kitchen area. And on either side of the living room and kitchen area are the bedrooms. So one bedroom's to the right, one bedroom's to the left. So they're separated by the living room and kitchen. So they're not right next to each other. But the reason why the assailant was seen is because he has to walk by her bedroom door to enter the kitchen to exit through the sliding glass door. So I heard her. I heard leave her. You can't tell me D didn't hear that blood curdling scream from E. Yeah, I don't know. You know what went on in this house. I'm just saying, and I don't believe Dylan Mortensen is involved. I believe that she is truly a victim. She had a horrific thing, but she made some terrible, terrible choices when it mattered the most. Terrible. And I want to know why. And I'm hoping that there is a reasonable explanation for why she allowed her roommate to cry in a room after seeing an assailant leave and not even bother in checking on her friends until 8 hours later. I can't wrap my head around it. I'm not sure if I will ever be able to wrap my head around that. Guys, there's 1,600 people in the chat room. We're breaking news. We're talking about a lot of stuff here on this channel. We talked about my theory of why I believe Ethan went into that house a second time. And then as we were live here, we had breaking information. We had leaked audio of Ethan Chapin inside the house. This is the leaked audio from 1112 King Road. And that was the audio from the Ring doorbell camera that are whatever kind of camera was used, in case it's not a Ring doorbell camera, that was only 50 feet away from Xana's room. 50 feet away from Xana's room. So that microphone was closer to them than Dylan Mortensen. But we just heard a blood-curdling scream from Ethan, twice saying Xana's name. Twice saying Xana's name. Twice. And you're telling me that Dylan didn't know or hear any of that. But we just heard that, and that was horrifying for me to listen to. I have to be honest with you. He got 4 people, at least some were awake. He had to leave. Some were awake. He had to leave. He had help. Not necessarily peas in the pod. I really do believe he acted alone in this. I don't believe his mindset. If you notice anything about serial killers, they do act alone, and that's the part of the serial killer. Nobody knows what they do. Nobody knows their hidden agenda. Nobody knows their thought process. Nobody knows. They do it all by themselves. They act by themselves, and they do this because they don't trust anybody with this very personal and private information of theirs. They know, this is the thing, is they know they don't think and act like normal people. They know that. They are fully aware of that situation and still cannot control themselves. That's the problem. I can't even listen to this blaming Xana. So long, chat. This is over the top, not fair. Who's blaming Xana? I don't think anybody's blaming Xana. Nobody's blaming Xana, Don Marie. I don't know what you're referring to. Not that I'm previewing the chat, but I don't see anybody really. Hold on. Yes, ma'am. Yes. All right, bye. Mama Bullhorn just called and let me know she can't call in on my show. I said, because I got it disabled so I can listen to that. So let me turn the phones back on. So Mama Bullhorn, call in. We want to hear what you have to say. There's Mama Bullhorn. Hey, Mama Bullhorn.
Hi, it worked. No, I've been trying all morning.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been taking the call and turning it off so we didn't have the whole, beeping in on people. I found a little trick trick to the trade.
You're listening to the audio. I know, sweetie. That just, you know how sensitive I am to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it just pulled me in. It just pulled me into the emotions. But my first opinion, when I heard, I believe it was News Nation, the news guys, they're all attorneys anyway, so they were going over it was like late that night before you got up, I think you were sleeping or whatever, they went through the probable cause.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to the part where DM said this, my hair on the back of my neck went up, and I'm going, the first emotion I had was I could feel their pain. Secondly, I thought, why the hell didn't you dial 911 and lay the phone down? And thirdly, I thought to myself, why did she not go check on them? I'm going, oh my God. And then she must have been on some major drugs to have gone to sleep for 8 hours. I just wonder if she took something.
I think she might have been on drugs. She may have, whatever happened, she may have just popped a sleeping pill and laid down and went to, we don't know really what happened to her.
I'm thinking that too. I'm thinking she was on drugs and alcohol, and she probably thought she was dreaming, a vivid dream maybe. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses for her, but I'm trying to rationalize it. And that audio, it just bone-chilling, completely bone-chilling, because there's no way she could not have heard. And the other roommate, how did they not hear all that?
Yeah. Yeah, that and then just hearing, and you can hear Ethan's voice. I mean, that was blood curdling. I mean,
Oh, and then the thing was, okay, DM is up on the second floor, adjacent to Xana and Ethan.
mhm.
And the other girl was downstairs where the front door is.
Yes.
How come she didn't wake up, first of all, when DoorDash showed up? Okay. And then secondly, how come she didn't wake up when the door was open?
Right.
And if Brian had threatened DM, she could have heard it.
Yeah.
I know she could have heard it. They must have been hitting some major juice that night. I'm thinking, oh my God.
But even like Taylor, you know, I mean, she's 18 years younger than me. If something
Right.
like this happened in her dormitory, in her off-campus housing, I truly
she would
believe
have
she would be
dialed
on the phone with
911.
911.
Yes. Yes. Just because, even if she wasn't sure, she would have dialed 911. Absolutely. Yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's just, oh, but.
What would now? You're a mom of three, three
Mhm.
girls.
Oh my God.
I know.
Don't ask that question. I know what you're going to ask. Oh, please.
How?
I
But
would-
no, you don't know what I'm going to ask. I'm going to put a twist on it. I'm going to ask you something different. So, how would
Mhm.
you feel being a parent? Like, I know you don't want to do that. You don't want to think this is going to probably put you in orbit today. But if I was at college and I was brutally murdered, like these girls were, and you found out one of my roommate not only heard bizarre things going on in the house, but actually watched the assailant, the person that killed me, walk out the door, and she goes to bed for 8 hours and doesn't call law enforcement. I'm sure you'd be thankful that there is an eyewitness, but how would you feel knowing that as a parent of a victim?
Well, you know how I am with my Louisville Slugger.
Mm-hmm.
I would be stealing the lieutenant's gun if I could find the combination to the box.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But I mean, as a parent, that would be heartbreaking because for me, we met at least Kaylee's and Maddie's family. I didn't meet Maddie's mom and her dad personally, except, they did speak at the memorial, but we did speak directly with Steve Gonzalez, his wife, and his daughter, Olivia. And, they really humanized both of those specific girls to us. And, I just can't imagine, he was their biggest fighter. He was the biggest fighter.
Mhm.
Out of all the parents, Steve was the one that was the biggest fighter for those kids.
I just, you know what? If it was my only daughter, okay, my life is over as a mother.
Yeah.
What if I got to live for? I would, guns blazing, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Guns blazing.
Right.
I don't know. I would be out of my living mind.
Yeah, it's hard. And I just, I feel bad for the families, hearing this revelation coming out in this affidavit. I have to believe that there's kind of a bit of, relief that there's an eyewitness to the case, but there's got to be a little part of an emotional part of this. Cause if she would have called, she could have potentially saved Xana. Cause it sounds like Xana was the last to die.
Oh yeah. She heard whimpering. Oh my gosh. And the other thing is, I saw somebody post, I truly believe, I watched the hearing the other day, the probable cause hearing, and the judge said they may or may not have the next hearing, depending on the attorneys, if they agree to certain stipulations. that they can proceed directly to trial within 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So the state attorney must have a ton of evidence.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, DM had to have known. I mean, I worked in surgery, okay? Blood smells. There is a smell, okay? I always knew when someone was doing a rhinoplasty because you could smell it. You can't stop blood when you're doing a rhinoplasty because it would cause the rhinoplasty to fail.
Right.
So all you can do is suction it. I always knew, and that girl should have been able to smell that blood. But the thing is, my point is, he went out the house. Don't know which direction he went out the house, but they did find blood evidence back there where you were standing.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to have parked that car back there.
He may have just left
smell,
back there. Back there was so dark, and the way that the road is, it all connects. So he could have actually went out the back door, up the little embankment, and went around the apartments to either the steps or where law enforcement were with the black light.
Exactly. But, oh well, I won't go there. It's just so devastating. And it's going to be worse. I watched Parkland's hearing, and it wasn't a true hearing. It was a sentencing hearing. It was he admitted to the killings, and all they did was bring the evidence before the jury so the jury could decide the sentence. But the point is, this hearing is going to be a full-blown hearing. Every piece of evidence. Trigger warning.
Yeah.
It's going to be horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those cases that are going to scar us, like almost like the Ted Bundy scarred you guys.
Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say is those of us who are old enough to remember the Zodiac and BTK, they teased law enforcement. Okay? Zodiac would literally write letters with information about the next case. BTK, he did the same sort of thing, but he always left a snippet of something behind.
Like a sheathing to a knife?
No, yeah, he would leave news articles. Or, a piece of a word or something. I forget. I remember the trial. They didn't televise it, but I remember I was glued to the newspaper. But anyhow, they both. He is very well versed on Ted Bundy, Zodiac, and BTK. And but Ted Bundy was he used any weapon available. He didn't care. I think the Zodiac, or was it the Green River?
Well, the Green River Killer, my
knife.
understanding is BTK. I remember he went by 2 different names because it went across states.
Yeah.
So
I think the Green River Killer.
Let me just check that. Let me check that right now. Green River Killer is BTK. I think it is.
No, it's not. His name is something Hernandez.
Oh yeah, Gary Ridgway is Green River, and BTK is that other dweeb, the guy with the glasses.
Yep. But anywho, I just wanted to call in and say you're doing a fabulous job, and I'm just like, oh my God, our brains work alike.
Can you believe that while we were standing out front of Washington State University sign our first trip, he was literally less than a mile away from us? That freaks me
Yes.
out.
And I'm saying, you are definitely my daughter. I sense these things. I have a story before I go. You girls had to be under the age of 5. And Daddy wanted to go fishing. And you guys went to the bottom of the Skyway at Terracea Bay. And there's rip currents there so bad. And you and your sister were playing on the shoreline. And Daddy was wading out to fly fish, or not fly fish, but cast his, and he was fishing, and he was very good at keeping an eye on you. Very good. Well, he looked around, and you guys were gone. And he almost walked on water to get back to you. And what had happened was, you guys had stepped into a pothole. And I don't know if you remember it. Angela remembers.
Hold on
it.
1 second, Ma. Hold on. Guys, we have over 1,700 people in the chat room and only 600 likes. If you guys could go out there, like this segment, get those likes up. We need them up over 1,000, and we should have no problem doing that with 1,700 people in the chat. So please go out there, like this segment, help this channel out, help this channel grow. It is free to say thank you by showing a like. And not only that, but we're breaking audio that you are just now hearing for the first time on the Bullhorn Betty channel. And I'm sorry, but you guys are here, so show some love. All right, Ma.
All right. Well, anyways, Angela, when she went down, you went down first. She went down. She grabbed a hold of your hair. And when your daddy went down into that hole, he found Angela. And when he grabbed her arm, he pulled her up. She had a hold of your hair. Okay. So you came up too. And only by the grace of God, he found you. Because it was very murky because of it was an inlet off of Terracea. It's very murky there. I was in Orlando taking your grandfather to your great aunt's house. And I was coming back with your aunt in her bicentennial Cutlass Supreme bright red T-top. And we're going down I-4. And back in those days, it was only 55 miles an hour on the interstate. And I had this overwhelming need to get home. I said to her, something's wrong. Something's wrong. I said, can you go faster? So she moved over into the special lane for commuters, even though we weren't commuters. And she floored it. And I said, can you go faster? She said, no, I'm afraid we'll get tickets. I said, and then I suddenly got a migraine. I was so stressed out. I said, look, there is something wrong at home. I know there's something wrong at home. And she said, okay. So she's driving as fast as she can. So we take off, and I don't know, I think it was the Branch Forbes, because at that time, I-75 wasn't completed, and she didn't want to go 301 because it's stop, go. So we took Branch Forbes all the way back, and then through Parish, 62. We got home, and I got out of the car. You guys were taking a nap. You were cleaned up. It was like 6 o'clock in the evening. And I had a massive migraine. And that's when your dad told me the story. You talk about almost fainting. That's the day I realized I have a sixth sense, and I can't deny it. I can't deny my sixth sense. So that's the story. That is the story.
Yeah.
And I love you.
I love you too,
I
Ma.
can sense anything about you. And I hated the man in the pickup truck.
Yeah, but he
I
stopped.
hated
I threw a fit with the law enforcement and told them, you know,
They
because
should
at
have
this
done
point,
something the first time he came up there to you and Olivia.
yeah, but there's, you know, you got First Amendment issues, and as long as he's not, but this last time he angled his car at our car, shined lights into it. It was bad, and I told the officer there's something that has to be done because I am now fearing for my life, and I told him I was going up to get a restraining order. And so, you know, we actually entertained that, but we didn't see that guy driving around anymore. So we saved our time and just decided to
Oh,
continue our
gosh.
work, but we didn't
And
see him
when
anymore.
I heard you mention that on your live
Yep.
that night,
Yep.
I just went.
But you know what? Like I said, I felt safe there because law enforcement was literally minutes away. There was not a place I turned that I didn't see a law enforcement officer. So even with all the crap going on, I know things can happen in a split second, but you know, I think that they finally gave him the you know, if you do this anymore and people fear for them, we will put you in jail, because I mean, literally, he was all over the roads and then he just disappears after I had the conversation with law enforcement.
I'm going to say to you, with this, with what you're doing in this case, it's horrific.
Mm-hmm.
But try to think back at something humorous and have a laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And it will help you so much. Even if it is thinking back on something stupid your mama did.
Right.
Oh, there's so many stupid things I've done. But
hold on, Ma. Somebody, I went to block Luke and I accidentally got it's Laura. It's me, Laura, or something like that. Can somebody unblock her? I didn't mean to block her. I was blocking Luke. Somebody unblock Laura and block Luke, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'll let you go.
All right,
I
love ya.
everyone. Great job.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So let me go. Sorry about that, Laura. I know you're listening. We're going to get you unblocked. I'm sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. This thing pops up too many times, but I can't find where I blocked you. So I need my mods to go and unblock you. I apologize about that. It does happen. Please, can somebody in the mod chat or mod let me know that you guys are taking care of that? Oh, thank you, Carla. God bless you. Thank you for the $25. Holy crap. I think you love me. No. I love you too, Carla. You take care. I have no way of unblocking Laura. Can somebody please go unblock her for me? Let me see if I can find her in the. Oh, here we go. I think I found it. How do I unblock? Sorry, Laura. There we go. There we go. I can unblock it now. Hold on. I think I can. Hide user from this channel. Okay, good. So it sounds like somebody already unblocked you. And then now Luke is being blocked. Hide user from this channel. Yes. I just want to make sure. Can somebody let me know that they unblocked Laura, please? Just to let me know that Laura's unblocked. I've tried. I can't unblock. Okay. Guidance already did it. Thank you. She's unblocked. Perfect. Sorry about that, Laura. I didn't mean to do that. I was meaning to hit Luke. It happens. Good. I didn't want you saying, what the hell did I do to get blocked? You didn't do anything. Okay, I've turned the phones back on. You guys want to call in? We're going to be talking about this. I don't really care. Just for all you haters out there that are on this channel stalking me, as you always do, because you got nothing better to do with your sorry little lives. I just want to let you know I stand behind everything I said about Dylan Mortensen. And I don't really care if you got your panties in a wad over it. Not my problem. That's your problem, not mine. Okay? So that's just how we roll. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty. This is Connie from Michigan.
Hey, Connie. How are you doing, love?
Good. I have, when you were playing the audio, I was listening to it really good. And right before Ethan screams Xana, it sounds like he says Brian's last name.
Ooh, let's go back and listen to it. Hold on. Let me turn hold on, before I get started on this, let me turn the calls off for here so we don't have anybody beeping in while we're doing this. Okay, so let's just go listen to it. We're going to listen to it again, and then here's the break. Here's the first break, or second break rather. You said right before he says
Yeah.
that?
Right before he screams Xana.
Okay. You know,
Okay.
right when that audible, hold on. Right there, that's where you're saying?
Yep.
So we need to explore that. I'm going to have to send this audio over to Olivia. She's not here right at the moment. But yeah, we need to, what does it say? We need to definitely get this off to her and see if she can do anything with the audio so we can figure out what is actually being said. But yeah, he's, you know, there's obviously something going on in that house, and he's very loud. I mean, very loud.
Yeah, and for Dylan not to hear that, I mean, come on, really?
And Caroline's saying she believes that he's saying get off of her or something to that effect. So I'd like to clean up this audio, absolutely, without a doubt. Clean up this audio and see what we can hear a little clearer and things of that nature. What audio is this? This is the leaked audio for 1112 King Road. This is the audio that was 50 yards away from, or 50 feet rather, away from Xana's room. This is the audio that we're listening to right now. And you can hear, we listen to it from the beginning, we can hear the dog barking around 4:17 in the morning. And then you can hear whispering. I didn't hear the crying that people said we could hear, but there is some,
I didn't hear it either.
yeah, there is some unaudible people talking. You know they're talking, but you can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's bone chilling, actually, knowing that this is their last moments.
Yeah. Yeah. And if he did holler out his name, that even solidifies even more of the connection that they may have had between themselves. It sounds
I'd like to hear the cleanup version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, just let us know if she can get it cleaned up, because I would really like to see.
Yeah, as soon as she can get it cleaned up, if she can get it cleaned up, we will definitely have the cleaned up audio on here, and you will see it in the title that we have. The cleanup audio. And that's what I'll put it as: cleaned up audio, clear audio.
Okay. Cool.
So
okay,
something to that effect.
I appreciate that, and I want to tell you, awesome job that you're doing. I really appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So people are definitely starting to hear. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm deaf in one ear, so there's a lot of stuff that I can't hear. I've got to amplify it on speakers and like put my ear up to it really, really close to try to get some stuff out of it. So I will do that. Or I have to use headphones, which I don't really have. I'm going to get some headphones so I can start hearing these things a little clearer. But Olivia, the great thing with her is she's, taken audio engineering classes. So she's able to use waves and remove like background noises and stuff like that. So she's very talented in certain aspects. And one of it is the audio. So I'm very interested in what she can do with this audio. She's dealing with some stuff right now. So I'll get this over to her as soon as possible. Slow it down to Betty. Slow it down to. I don't think I can slow it down the way I have it recorded. It doesn't give me the option to slow it down, but I will get it recorded in a different format, and so we can put it up and slow it down and slow-mo it. We will do something. I again, this is all breaking here on this channel. I didn't have it when I started this segment this morning. After we were doing our stuff about, why I believe Brian went into the house the second time. This audio was sent to me and breaking right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel for YouTube. And so I'm very thankful for whoever got this over to me and sent this to me. But that's why there's not a whole lot going on. Guys, we still have over 1,600 people in this chat, and we are not at our 1,000 likes. So if you guys are just tuning in for the first time, Again, we are breaking some information. We're breaking we're leaking audio that was leaked to us for this 1112 King Road, which is the house that was 50 feet away from Xana's room. We have that audio. This is Betty.
Hi, Betty. Good morning. It's Summon from New York.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I could be doing better. I want to tell you, you're doing a great job on this case, and I literally cried when I heard that audio.
I know it's heartbreaking, and it just really, you know, I'm sorry Dylan's going through everything she is going through. I really am. I mean, my heart bleeds for her and her family.
I like to question
But
her
damn,
because that's 50 feet away. Imagine that in your house.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you something. If you can do like another video on this specifically, because you were there, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
First of all, let me just get this out of the way. In the audio, I hear Ethan, because he to me is now a hero. I hear him say, Z, go. And then the second part, he says, Xana, get out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I hear. But put that aside and may they rest in peace. My thing is this. In the affidavit, being that you were there, you know the blocks, the roads, the house, how far, how close, and everything. In the affidavit, it shows you his footprints in terms of at 404, he goes and parks the car. I don't know where that street is. I don't know how long it takes to walk to the back. And that Dylan supposedly says she hears a lot of noise upstairs. So I'm thinking he went through the back door, went upstairs, and unalived those two girls. And he took a long time up there because Tanta Life, she was pretty, whoever gave her that stuff, she said one of the girls was stabbed from the FBI, from her people, 54 times, and her face beaten and sunken. And he had to take a long time because you know the ends of the house. I don't know the map. And so if he went upstairs, then he went downstairs. And at 417, they said they heard a thump. Meaning, I'm thinking that's Ethan because he's what, 6'4"? And
he's not 6'4". He's only 5'11".
Who?
Dylan, or not Dylan, Brian.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Ethan because...
Oh, Ethan's 6'4". Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I misunderstood you.
I love you. You have no idea. So the cops said when they walked to the house that they saw Xana near the door. I'm sorry, they saw Xana on the bed and Ethan on the floor. So Ethan's the one who made the thump because of his velocity of weight hitting the floor. My question to you is, at 4:04, because I don't believe anything, at 4:04, the cops say they see him on surveillance parking the car. And at 4:20, he speeds off. So he had to walk to the car. So I'm thinking the girls upstairs were unalived first. He went downstairs and unalived them. Because to leave their room, Dylan said he was walking towards us and passed.
Yeah. I think the girls upstairs died first, and I think that message that we heard where somebody was in the house where she heard somebody say something. I think she heard Xana say that. I don't think that was from Kaylee. I believe she heard a lot more than what was in that affidavit for us, and now that we heard the audio from next door, we can definitely kind of. Maybe that's the reason why she was scared, but still 8 hours is just too long. I would have been in that room calling law enforcement immediately. I don't care.
I don't know her reason, and I pray to God it's a good reason.
Yeah, me too.
I feel bad.
I feel bad for her too, because she's already went through so much, and then now this, and it's we're going to talk about it because I've got some serious questions, but I feel bad for her.
I know it came out on Banfield that two of the girls went out the front door, and our neighbors, someone stopped them, and they weren't making sense. And one of them fainted in front of the individual, and the other one just you can't make her out. And then he called and he said, "There's someone fainted in front of me." They left the house.
Yeah.
That's what's being said yesterday. That's why the front door is open. And if you can look up, I'm sorry because you were there, thank God. If you can look up where he parked his car, and is that a way to get to the back?
Yeah, there's several ways to get to the back, and no matter where he parked his car, he could have gotten there from basically any angle. I mean, literally from Walinda, he could have just walked and crossed over a fence. Like he could have went down the stairs that go straight to their house from, Band Field. And there's another place down, further down, past the apartment complexes. On the other side of the apartment complexes, there's another parking lot and another unit that has steps that goes down that can get to another area much easier to escape as well. So there were 3 different ways that I could see somebody going in and out unobstructed and without notice.
And is it a long walk?
And what?
Is it a long walk?
No. Mm-mm.
No?
Nope. Not a long walk at all.
What do you think his motive is, buddy?
His motivation, I personally believe he went to Washington State University specifically to pull this act off. I believe he had already concocted it back in Pennsylvania. I don't believe he knew who his victims would eventually be. I believe when he got into town, he pegged them for whatever reason, whether it was he went into Mad Greek and saw Xana and Maddie, or he met them through a party or something like that. But he ended up flagging them as his victims, and then he turned all of his efforts on stalking them day and night, I truly believe, one way or another.
And why do you think he tried to influence the police? Do you think it's
why he tried to join the police?
Join.
Think about it. Think about how smart this man was. Who would have ever thought that somebody would be capable of doing this, that is a criminology and working for a law enforcement agency? That was the best cover in the world for somebody like him. He would have all the information from inside the department. He would have, if nothing more, just his ears inside the department. This would have been, if he would have gotten into this law enforcement as a volunteer, as a private citizen, or going up the ranks to actually become employed by them. This was a very clever and strategic plan he was putting forth.
And my final question is, do you think that do you think the citizens of Idaho will give him the death penalty?
I hope they do. I hope they do. I hope they prove their case. I hope they prove all their allegations of the case. I hope this is a slam dunk. I hope we finally put this man in his place, letting him know he is not the smartest man on this earth. There's a lot of people smarter than him, and I want him to pay for this because, again, this is personal in nature for me, and it's personal in nature for Olivia. And I hope, I'm an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth type of person. You kill somebody, you should have to pay with your life because you took a life. And, whether it's wrong, whether it's right, that's just how I feel. That's what I believe. And when something like this happens to beautiful, sweet, young people that literally did nothing wrong and have no real reason for committing such a horrible act, he deserves worse than the death penalty. In my opinion, a public hanging is really what I would love to see, but I'll never get that.
That's what Kaylee's dad said yesterday. He said, I will forgive him once he's dead.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, oh God, I forgot what I was going to ask you. Why does it take 20 years? 20 years for them to finally kill somebody in a death penalty? Because
it's all the appeals. The appeal process is a horrific process. It's a very long, drawn out process. It takes really long. I mean, you're statutorily required to file your appeals by a certain time frame, but these appeals can literally last years and decades. So it's the appeals process. If we in all fairness, there was a time when appeal processes were required because we didn't have all the forensic stuff we have this day and age. Like we had blood type, and there was millions of people with type A blood or type B blood or type O blood. There was even millions of people with that RHB negative or whatever blood, that's weird. But that's really all we had. We had nothing that could pinpoint with people with specificity. And now with the DNA, we have that. And I'm hoping that limits some of these appeals. But defense attorneys, they're paid the big bucks because they have to come up with clever strategies and defenses for their clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You're doing a great job, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, and God bless.
God bless. I love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, wow. I mean, so I'm going to go ahead and play this audio. I know we have a lot more people that are kind of, they're coming in. Some people are going out. Some people are coming in. So I wanted to make sure we played this audio for everybody that's coming in that hasn't had an opportunity to hear it. So this is your warning that if you don't want to listen to it, you might want to mute your speakers now. I am going to play it from the beginning in its entirety. I'm not going to commentate through this, but I want you guys to hear the entire thing from the beginning. And so you guys know exactly what was said. There's a break. There's a break in audio again. So again, it's pretty sad hearing that go on, but at least we have a little more clarification on what transpired in that house and the fact that this was not a quiet attack. Again, just horrific. It's hard. I'm starting to hear it too, where it sounds like he may have said Brian Kohberger or Kohberger right before you heard him say Xana's name the first time. It's possible that everybody may have known this person. Again, I said from the beginning, this is going to end up being. Yes, I agree with you, Snow. I that's where I'm at. I'm not, and people want to call it victim shaming. Look, if making a statement is victim shaming, making a legit statement, I can't change the facts of this case. Okay. I don't have the power to change the facts of this case. At the end of the day, the facts of this case are the facts of this case. And at the end of the day, Dylan did hear a lot of weird things going on in her house. She saw an assailant in black. And whether she froze for a few minutes or a couple hours, I don't give a rat's ass. It doesn't take 8 hours to call 911. I can't change these facts. I can't. I didn't do it. This is Betty.
Hi, it's Amy, Betty. So
hey, Amy. How are you doing, my love?
Right. I'm just disgusted with that. I was trying to say, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. But also, I'm also going to have to say that the other roommate has some culpability with not calling.
Yeah.
How could they have? We're focusing on Dylan. How about Bethany? Her name is Bethany, right?
Bethany Funk. Yep.
Right. I'm like, It doesn't make sense to me. Like, we have to look at the other one. I don't care if she didn't see him.
Yeah.
There's something absolutely wrong. But I'm hearing something like "get off"
Yeah.
from the girl. And in this day and age, we have the DNA technology. Why are we having such poor audio? Like, these cameras, come on. We have to get something that's going to be able to pick up the voices much better than we have today. It's so archaic or antiquated when I'm listening to that. Like,
well, we have to be thankful that a neighboring house picked up audio at all, because you're talking about going through, walls and stuff like that.
True,
so
that's
I am
true.
like amazed with the quality of audio that came off this video.
Well, I'm just complaining a lot.
Yeah, but no, it's okay. But I'm actually kind of
I
impressed.
think that our technology should be much better.
Yeah,
with
I agree.
Where we are with everything. That's just my opinion. But they could have gotten them to a trauma center. Like, I don't know. I know the kinds of healthcare facilities they have in the I saw a post of JLR's the other night about how they could have gotten them to the hospital and saved them. But my biggest thing was, like, you could have gotten them to the hospital, but in that area, like, I'm a nurse, so, like, I always think of who has the best ER, I'm like, I don't think the hospitals that are in that area would have actually been able to deal with such types of injuries, because they are not level 1. They probably wouldn't have had the medical staff that would be needed for those kinds of injuries to get them in time. And also, you would, in those kinds of neighborhoods or those types of communities, they need airlift.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they could have gotten a helicopter out there in the middle of the night and gotten all of them out to Boise, where they have one of the better trauma centers to deal with that. I'm like, this is blowing my mind, because, like, I wanted to give them some benefit of the doubt, but when you hear that, there's no excuse to sleep through that. I'm sorry, there really is no excuse.
And it's heartbreaking to hear. It's heartbreaking to hear. This has got to be, just hearing the audio and just knowing that more went on in that house, and it's horrible. And
I know.
Me as a person, a human being, I don't know if I'm sure all of us would have been in shock if we saw what Dylan did. But there's a point when that shock wears off and your brain cells come back.
Well, this is also one of the, like, they're saying, what if her cell phone was not working? That's a possibility. But this is I'm sounding crazy. This is one of the reasons why I don't get rid of my landline, because the other day my phone broke, Betty,
mm-hmm.
and I was so glad that I have a landline just in case something happened that I could call, when my phone had to be repaired the next day. So I'm just saying that, I think that I just can't, I'm just so shocked, that someone would just sit there and not do anything. There's something wrong. I'm sorry. I would like to see more stuff come out.
Yeah.
As I said, I was waiting to hear the more information before I was going to pass judgment. But now I think this is spelled right out for me.
Mm-hmm.
So something is wrong with this picture. So that's all.
Yeah, there's definitely some things. And I know, like, law enforcement told us to be patient. They will get all the stuff will be coming out in the court record. We need to monitor the court record. What I don't like is they don't make the access to the public record easy. So you can see it on the docket, but you have to call in and order it. It kind of sucks a little bit.
And that Reddit people, I don't know where we're getting today with this authoritarianism, with people telling people what they can and cannot say. No one's inciting anything onto her. No one's saying that she did anything. Not like that professor that was accused by that TikToker. So that's it. I'm just disgusted with the people not liking free speech and our First Amendment.
I agree. I agree.
You have a good day now.
You too. You too, Amy. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So yeah, and that's the sentiments I'm saying, is that we're not victim shaming. We're just asking why. Why? We want an answer as to why it took 8 hours. If there's a reasonable explanation, fine. But if it truly is her going and closing and locking the door, rolling over in bed and going to sleep, I kind of have a problem with that. And I don't care if that's perceived as victim shaming. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty. This is Gracie over in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, hello, Gracie. Thank you for calling
Hello.
from Texas. You might be seeing me over in Texas in the next month.
Yes, and we'll take care of you here. So I was, when I was in college, and I at the time did coke and all that, I would get paranoid when I would hear footsteps or just anything in the house that my roommates would do. And I would be so wired, I'd be in the corner, you know, just like hearing for things. But I never heard anything because nothing like this ever happened. But when something did happen and there was a domestic dispute in the home, I was paranoid at the time, but I still opened the door and I said, "Hey, what the hell?
Right.
You know, are you okay? Hey, tell me you're okay."
Yeah, or even
We're
just
okay.
texting them, calling
We're
them,
okay.
a number of things.
Now, there was another time where they didn't answer me. And I got my curling iron and I tiptoed. And I'm like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, we're okay." I mean, at least have yelled, "Hey." So when I'm thinking this, my daughter is like, "Mom," well, I was talking to her, brainstorming. She says, "Mom, not everybody's like that, though." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She's like, "Sometimes we just care about ourselves. We don't think like how you've taught us to think because of true crime."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "But still, you would think I said, "Well, would you yell? Hey." She's like, "Well, yeah, but not all people think that way."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, shit, I guess, you know, I guess." But it just puts me back to my days. Yeah, I opened the door, I hollered. And then I have my 15-year-old saying, "We don't care really." I'm like, "Well, you don't care if you
I
heard
get
somebody
that.
yelling?"
I get that.
She's
But
like,
you know
"What?"
what? My
You know?
fear, this is my fear. Me personally, I would be fearing for my life that he would come back.
Yeah.
Like, I would want to make sure that the cops know some weird guy was in my house. Even if everybody was okay, do rotations or, you know, drive by our house and check on us, you know, here and there.
Now, to hear that blood curdling yell, I guarantee she probably would have been like, "Hey, everything okay?" You know?
Yeah, and
Tell
just
me.
nothing. It's upsetting. And I feel so bad for her because she came under such horrible scrutiny, you know, when this was released as to why a 911 call came in as an unconscious person. Nobody understood that. And then you've got Dylan, you know, her boyfriend coming out and just, you know, making things 10 times worse by being so combative with everybody. And, you know, but they just wouldn't understand. And then we find out this, and it's like, holy crap,
And
like
then
she's
I
about to
think-
go through it
then
again.
I think, was anybody else arrested? And then I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, that was an odd statement for somebody.
Who's anybody? I'm like, is there a female? Because, you know, I've been at true crime for 15 years, and females are not innocent in this either. But, you know, that's why we're here brainstorming. And
But something just popped in my head when you made that statement about that. And I don't know why I didn't think of anything before. And it just gave me chills. What if, when he said that statement, he wasn't talking about the setting up? What if he plotted with another killer such as BTK? And maybe they thought that they got wind of that and arrested because he would now be an accessory before the fact. BTK or somebody like that.
I honestly think there is something behind what he said, not just to throw off somebody. There has to be not somebody else he met online. I think somebody else that really kind of knew something, and he or made him do it, or pushed him to, "Hey, yeah, let's do it." But another thing, when I saw you in front of the Washington breaking news, maybe this, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Betty, everybody's gonna go after her like, don't be." And when it broke, I'm like, hell yeah, that's why God gave her this gift.
Yeah.
She unlocks stuff that we filter ourselves, and we don't want to step on anybody's toes, where you step on toes to prove a point. And when I became in the community, your community, I now, how can I put it? I now learned my rights.
Yeah.
Done right. I should know them, but now
they don't teach them
for
anymore.
myself.
They act like they're a privilege in this country now. They're teaching our kids that our rights are privileges, and nope.
Right. And I tell my clients, no, that's not right. I'm like, you need to go to this channel. This lady will give you the motivation to speak your mind.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Well, God bless y'all, and hit the like button, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For those that are just tuning in, I know many of you guys have heard this. We are, this just kind of fell this morning. This new audio being released from the cameras. It's not being released. It's being leaked, more or less. And somebody sent it over to me, and I'm glad they did. As crazy as this audio is, as heartbreaking as this audio is, it gives us some more clarity as to what happened, and the fact that they were aware. I mean, we were made to feel that, they were ambushed in their sleep while they were peacefully sleeping and slaughtered. That's not how this happened. These folks in this house were well aware of what happened. They knew something was happening to them. It's sad. It breaks my heart. The fear that you hear is real. It's heart piercing. It's sad. And while I open this platform and allow you guys to get your grievances out in the chat, again, you guys can say whatever you want to say in that chat, as long as it's not disrespectful to me or my audience or other creators. Those are the only rules. I want people to have a platform because this weighs on a lot of people. This weighs on the hearts of a lot of people as we cover these cases. And there's a lot of built up emotions that each of us get with these cases because, one, we're not robots. We're human beings. We're human beings that feel things. Both sides, because of our own personal experiences. So you have, agreeing viewpoints and opposing viewpoints. And we have to find a balance that everybody has their voice, because every voice does matter when it comes to these cases, because even an opposing viewpoint can put some perspective that maybe we weren't thinking about. So I really want people in here not to be shy with how they feel, but also not to attack each other because they feel that way. And when you do, you are blocked. With Dylan, I do feel very bad for her. I feel very bad that she was put in this horrible, horrible position. She made a lot of mistakes. We don't know how ourselves would act in this same situation. We don't know, mentally where she is. We don't know if she was in an altered state of mind that evening because, they were out. This is a party house. We have to, this is not 1930. This is 2023. There are recreational things out there that college age kids do, right? So while I want to make sure that nobody is going and attacking Dylan directly, we do open up this chat so you guys can get those feelings out, because I have problems with this. I'm very thankful that she is alive. I'm very thankful that she will be an eyewitness in this case that can help put this animal away for a really long time, if not forever, and give him the death penalty. I'm very thankful for that. Her safety is more important than my feelings at the end of the day. With that said, I'm still upset that it took her 8 hours to call law enforcement. I'm upset that she didn't check on her roommates. I'm upset that there was the possibility of maybe at least one surviving. I'm upset that we know at least one was suffering for quite some time. And that makes my heart hurt. As I'm sure it makes the families of the victims, the dead victims, the ones that don't get to see their children anymore. I'm sure it hurts their heart too to hear this information, wondering if she would have just picked up the phone, would my child still be here? So while everybody is looking at Dylan and worried about her feelings, thank God she's still alive. There are 4 that are not. Those are the victims I'm covering. And wherever those leads lead me, we will be covering them. This an affidavit was released, and it makes me angry. So this is my platform to purge those feelings that I have as well. With that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this segment. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We will be digging further into this case as this information starts coming out and as we start finding more information about Brian or any other person. We are, seeking the truth in here. So that's what we're here to do. And however we get there, we're going to work through it. So God bless each and every one of you. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound to cure. Good.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.